Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Nate here, and oh my god, what a doozy of an E3 conference that was, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few hours before this video will go live, Bethesda has confirmed not only Starfield, but the Elder Scrolls 6 as well, and revealed what is easily the most ambitious Fallout game ever tackled. According to them. There is undoubtedly a very bright future ahead for Bethesda and its community. And dare I say, they may have even redeemed themselves after their 2017 E3 conference. However, in this video today, we're going to be focusing on Fallout 76, and sort of elaborate on everything Todd Howard said and everything we found out at the E3 trailer and reveal, as well as some things that you may have missed. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. The first thing I want to mention and discuss is the world that Fallout 76 is set in. Now, I know obviously there's some other big mechanics that you guys are very excited to hear about, but I think it's important we start with the environment. It was of course again confirmed to be in West Virginia. Todd Howard specifically said the hills of West Virginia. Also, the world space will be 4 times bigger than that of Fallout 4's, which is huge. Literally 400% the size of the Fallout 4 Commonwealth. While Fallout 4, in my opinion, was actually a little bit small, I think if you amplified that 4 times, you've got a pretty damn big world to work with. Additionally, the environments we got to see in the trailer, as well as in some of the in-game footage, showed off a bit of a combination of both rural and forest-like areas, as well as urban and metropolitan settings. From what we got to see, both ruined, decimated cities and massive lush forests were both pretty common in the game. This is a bit odd, because, at least in our current modern world, West Virginia isn't really known for massive large population centers. Its largest city in the real world, Charleston, only has a population of about 50,000. Compare that to Boston, which has around 600,000, and you can see a real difference. That said, considering in the Fallout universe this area developed and continued to do so until 2077, it's easily possible for Bethesda to ride in a large population boom or something that stimulated a large metropolitan development. That said, with the world space being 4 times larger, Bethesda certainly won't have to compress any of the urban settings like they did in Fallout 4. Of course, as many of you know, Boston in Fallout 4's Commonwealth was a lot smaller than we know it in the real world. Such compression won't be so necessary in Fallout 76, which will likely make these urban landscapes pop a little bit more. Of course, it's also possible, though Todd didn't directly say this, that Fallout 76 will branch out to include small parts of other states, like neighboring Pennsylvania and Virginia proper. On top of all of this, Todd Howard also elaborated on some of the big engine improvements that Bethesda's made since Fallout 4. He specifically mentioned that you'll be able to see, and I quote, 16 times the detail when looking at environments from a distance. Now, of course, just saying 16 times the detail is very ambiguous, because we're not entirely sure what he meant by that statement. Does he mean 16 times the render distance? If that's the case, that would be utterly insane. However, I don't think that's the case. That would require a lot of work to the engine that I simply don't think they've had time to do. Instead, I think we're rather likely to see higher polygon and texture counts on different objects when rendered at a distance. So you won't be seeing 16 times as far, but things you do see from a distance might look 16 times better. At least, that's my interpretation. Alright, now let's get into the fun stuff. Multiplayer. Yes, Todd Howard did indeed confirm that Fallout 76 is definitely a multiplayer game, promising an experience that can be always online if you want it, though he was very clear that Bethesda will still allow you to play Fallout 76 and all of its quests by yourself if you so choose to do so. Though it was certainly heavily suggested that you play Fallout 76 as a multiplayer game. So how will this multiplayer work? Is it co-op? Is it PvP? Well, the answer is yes. According to Todd, you'll be automatically placed into a server. No, from the looks of it, it does not seem as though you'll choose one from a list. Once you're in this server, everyone around you will be a real person, and you can choose to be friendly with some of them or engage in combat with others. The way it was described, it sounds very similar to a game like Rust or DayZ, except you don't get to pick the server, one is chosen for you. That all said, I'm certain there will be some sort of mechanic in place that allows you to invite your friends to play on specific servers and party up. Todd Howard did his best to distance Fallout 76 from other survival games, saying it's not a hardcore survival title, but instead a quote, softcore survival game, in which you keep all of your progression after death. Now, much like his statement on graphical details, this is a little bit ambiguous, because it could mean that you just keep your player experience progression after death, or perhaps you might even be able to keep some items. We're not entirely sure. though if it's following a traditional model, it'll probably just be your XP. Additionally, the multiplayer seems to heavily revolve around everyone's favorite element in Fallout games. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, settlement mode and base building. Fallout 76 will have a mechanic built in that allows players to build bases pretty much anywhere in the world, and it seems to be heavily modeled off of Fallout 4 settlement mode, though of course, it doesn't seem like you're trying to attract settlers in this one. Instead, you're just seemingly building a base to keep your stuff and things safe. You're gonna want to put a bit of an emphasis on the safety part, as from the footage we saw, both other players and various NPC random encounters can attack and significantly damage your base, potentially even destroying it. Side note, to me personally, this all feels heavily inspired by a game called Ark Survival Evolved, that some of you may or may not have heard of over on PC, that seems to have very similar mechanics and playstyles. Though that's for a different type of video. So how is this all going to work in cohesion with the server system? Are you going to be loaded into a new server every time and going to have to build a new base every time, or is it somehow going to be carried on with you? Perhaps every time you play Fallout 76, you'll automatically be loaded into the same server maybe. Though then how would joining with your friends work? Well, the reason I'm shooting all of these theories is because frankly, we don't really know how any of this is going to work. We're not sure if your base is gonna come with you between servers, or if you're gonna have to build a new one every single play session. That was all really left pretty ambiguous and up to you to decide. Though Todd Howard did comment on a system that would, quote, allow you to move your base. Though we're not sure what he meant by this, meaning like pick it up and move it across the mountain, or move it to an entire new server. We're not really sure. Now, of course, on top of this huge multiplayer mechanic that will seemingly change the way the core game works forever, Todd did promise that there would be quests and factions and all the traditional things that make a Fallout game Fallout. Though, personally, despite the fact that all of these things will be included and there will be a single-player mode, I can't really help but shake the fact that multiplayer is going to play a really integral role, and you're not really going to get the full experience unless you decide to play multiplayer. I don't see how they could put such an emphasis on multiplayer gameplay without letting solo players sort of take the back seat in a way. Though, admittedly, I've never played a multiplayer game developed by Bethesda Game Studios, and no one else has, so perhaps they will prove me wrong, and I hope they do. Of course, we still don't know a whole lot about the storyline in terms of what factions there will be and what your exact quests are, though Todd did say that it's centered around Reclamation Day, the day the player leaves Vault 76 once and for all and is able to explore the world. Apparently, it's Vault-Tech's hope that once you exit Vault 76, you'll begin work on rebuilding humanity and civilization. Though, of course, from the looks of it, you don't really have to if you don't want to. Now, we did indeed see some gameplay, in which it appeared the Vault 76 Overseer was actually giving the player character some instructions to complete some sort of task. So I'd imagine the Vault 76 Overseer will indeed play some pretty big role, perhaps similar to that of Preston Garvey. But other than the fact that you're exiting Vault 76 25 years after the bombs have fallen, and are also apparently receiving instructions from an Overseer, we don't really know a whole lot about Fallout 76's gameplay, though perhaps it's best we keep it that way. According to Todd Howard, Fallout 76 has been in development for over 4 years, and it'll all be releasing on November 14th, 2018. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video or found it informative in some way, like ratings are as always very much appreciated, and definitely don't forget to leave a comment down below. I think Fallout 76 is undoubtedly going to be the most controversial Fallout title we've ever seen, and I'd love to know your thoughts. Again, thanks so much for stopping by, and hope to catch you all in my next video. Peace out, everyone.